Welcome back to Strictly Sports Talk. I know we've been gone for a couple weeks. We were down in sunny Florida, down in Miami, a little family vacation, R&R, but we're back to close out our divisional talks, and we are talking about the NFC North. But again, as always, we're going to kick it off with Joshua and some news and updates.
There you
Go.
Okay. Jordan Love plans to help Packers running back Josh Jacobs avoid TD-less record.
All right. I mean, honest to goodness, I think the switch out, which we'll talk about, of Aaron Jones and bringing in Josh Jacobs is going to be a decent trade-off. Josh Jacobs was a rushing champion not too long ago, and Jordan Love and Green Bay, they got it done last year. They were a playoff caliber team, and so yeah, I think Jordan Love can do a lot. I think the receiving core there can do a lot to take pressure off. We know that the Raiders had a little bit of a rough start last year. Expecting big things from Josh Jacobs personally.
Texans become first team to fully report for training camp ahead of 2024 NFL season.
I mean, that's always a good thing when everybody's in-house, right?
Yes.
All right. So, I mean, I think, again, Texans are a team. They want to get it done. High expectations. We talked about their offseason and draft, and it was great overall. So, I think Texans are in it to compete. And anything else we got?
Hard Knocks documents final Saquon Barkley Giants talks before running back departure were out.
Hard Knocks, gotta love it. Great show. Obviously talking about Saquon Barkley leaving the Giants, there was some controversy and drama surrounding that. I think everyone wishes it could have been potentially done differently, but expecting big things from Saquon and the Eagles. Eagles. Eagles are in it to compete as well this year. What else you got, Josh?
Andy Reid, peer pressure from leaders keys Chiefs Super Bowl drive.
All right.
I'm gonna say well.
Let me see what you got there. I think everyone expects big things from the Chiefs. Peer pressure from the league keys their Super Bowl drive is basically what the headline, and I think that's it. It's going to be a thing every year for Kansas City. There's going to be pressure. There's going to be expectations that they're in it to compete still. And we talked about everything that they did earlier on in one of our previous sessions, but yeah, the Chiefs are still the team to beat, in my opinion. All right.
Paris Johnson's recipe for Cardinal success: just throw it to Marvin Harrison Jr. and we'll be good.
No. Marvin Harrison?
You can't just throw it to one person. It's not gonna work.
I'm gonna give him some love. I think he can do it.
He's fast.
Let him cook.
That's not gonna work.
Let him cook.
I'm gonna side up with Josh. There's 11 men on an offense for a reason, and you can double team a guy. And so if it was just Marvin Harrison, I don't think it'd be a success. I think Marvin Harrison is going to be a big piece of that offense. Obviously, if he's anything like his dad, he's going to be a great NFL receiver. I think the expectation is there. He was an amazing college receiver. Obviously, the top talent in the draft from a receiving side. So. I mean, it all rests on the quarterback, and we'll be interested to see if they can get it done there. And close us out.
The final one is Broncos guard Menierez agrees to 4-year, $80 million extension.
Locking it up. Gotta have an O-line. I am gonna 100% say 49ers approved case. You win in the trenches, offensive line, defensive line. That's where you get it done. So anytime you lock up someone on the offensive side of the ball, protecting your quarterback, helping out with the run, it's always a great thing. All right, well, let's kick it off. NFC North, highly competitive division in my opinion, and we're gonna talk about the Vikings first. Joshua, what did you think about the Vikings and free agency?
I think they did actually pretty well. I don't think they did that bad. I think signing Aaron Jones wasn't a bad thing, especially since they don't have a running back. But I don't think Aaron Jones also is that good. Um, and I also think signing Andrew Van Ginkel was smart. I think he's a really good edge. So yeah, I give him a B plus A minus.
Christian, what about you? What do you think about the Vikings and free agency?
I mean, they did really well. Andrew Van Ginkel, Aaron Jones, Brandon Powell. I mean, lots of people on this list. I'm not gonna go through naming them all, but they also lost a few key pieces in Hunter and Kirk Cousins and Jordan Hicks. I mean, I think it's gonna be harder for them to compete. But I still think they did a good enough job. So I gave them a B plus.
All right. I gave him a B plus too. I think the Vikings are moving on with some risk, obviously. Anytime you change over from a quarterback, Kirk Cousins left. We talked about Marcus Davenport, Daniel Hunter, Jordan Hicks, some decent sized names on that team, some leaders. But they did a good job of bringing people in as well. I'm going to disagree with Joshua and say that Aaron Jones probably still has a couple years left. I think he is on his decline. Obviously, Green Bay did let him go, but I think he's still got something in the tank. I think the O-line in Minnesota is going to do well, and they moved on from the Alexander Madison experiment, whatever you want to call it. He did not step up to the plate. I think Aaron Jones is going to surprise people, and he's still got something left. Talked about Andrew Van Ginkel, Jonathan Greenard, Blake Cashman, to name it a few. Shaq Griffin, I like the Shaq Griffin signing. So they did a good job of solidifying some pieces of defense, replacing pretty much all the pieces they lost on the defensive side of the ball. Talked about bringing in Aaron Jones, locking in Brandon Powell. So, overall, I think, again, they did pretty solid in free agency. What do you think about the draft, Christian?
I love the first two picks in JJ McCarthy and Dallas Turner. Two probably my favorite players that I liked going into the draft, and they got them both. So I like them both.
All right, how'd you grade them out?
I gave them an A for that.
An A? All right, Josh. What did you think about the draft? Josh is a little surprised by the A grade, it looks like.
I think they did okay. I agree with Kristen. Their first two picks were really good, but two picks are not A worthy, so I just gave them a B.
Two picks are not A worthy.
Take that back.
No.
All right. Well, I gave him a B plus. I think the draft went well. They did move up to take JJ McCarthy. There was a quick move on some quarterbacks, so they gave up a little bit of their draft stake to go up and sign JJ McCarthy. And it'll be interesting to see how he does. They've got great weapons: Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Brandon Powell, TJ Hawkinson. They brought in Aaron Jones as a competent running back. I think he's going to do well again. He's got an offense to take some of the pressure off of him. Bringing in Dallas Turner in that second round, like the Dallas Turner pick as well. I think he'll slot in really well in a productive rotation with Van Ginkel and Greenard. I think not having a pick until the fourth round after that hurt them, but I did like what they did in the draft with Kyrie Jackson out of Oregon. Great cover cornerback, good size. I think he'll match up well against some of the receivers in that division. Walter Rouse, again, a very competent tackle, might move into a guard position, but he's got some versatility. And overall, I give him a B plus to match free agency. Josh, what did you think overall?
B.
B.
Solid.
That's all he thinks. So straight up B. Christian, what did you think overall?
I gave him an A.
Gave him an A.
I love what they did, and Josh, I still love the two players they drafted in the draft too, and all that together gives them an A, I guess.
All right. I actually went B plus, and I downgraded them to a B overall. it's tough. I do like what they did, but when I'm looking at the teams and I'm looking at the division and how they stack up, the Vikings returned a solid team on both sides of the ball. Bringing in Aaron Jones, I think was a positive. I think they did well with improving their defense, both in the draft and in free agency. I'm just never in love with having a rookie quarterback at the helm. They did bring in Sam Darnold, but I don't think Sam Darnold is the replacement for Kirk Cousins. Christian would agree, given the look he's giving me right now. But again, you're looking at a rookie quarterback in JJ McCarthy, and unless JJ McCarthy is the next CJ Stroud, you don't see a lot of rookie quarterbacks come out and make a splash. JJ has got a very, very talented team around him. He's got a good offensive line, so he has all the opportunity in the world. We'll see how it goes, but overall, if I were projecting, I think the Vikings will be in one of the last two positions in the division. We're actually going to talk about the next team now, which I think they're in biggest competition with for one of those last two spots in the division. The Chicago Bears. Christian, what did you think about the Bears free agency?
B plus.
B plus.
I love what they did by signing some people to help on the offense with their rookie quarterback Caleb Williams. Keenan Allen, great receiver, has some injury issues, but if he can stay healthy, legit guy, can catch the ball. DeAndre Swift was a good running back last year. And I think they can run really well with him. And I think they'll do better in the run game than they did last year. And then Gerald Everett, a tight end, good tight end. Is he better than Cole Kmet? Probably not. But good backup. He could always come in and make something happen. So I like that too. And then some things that they did on the defense by re-signing Jalen Johnson and then signing Kevin Byard.
Yeah.
So I gave him B plus.
Joshua did not agree with that ranking. Joshua,
Josh.
B plus. What do you?
Good. I think they just signed really good people, and I don't think Justin Fields was bad. I don't think he had a team, and I think Caleb Williams has a really good chance of doing well because I feel he has a team, and Fields didn't have a team really.
All right.
But they did really good in free agency.
I like their free agency as well. I'm not going to say A plus, but I did give him an A. The Bears did move on from Justin Fields. Obviously, they've decided that he is not the guy. I do agree with Josh. I think they've made huge strides on their team, and so they've solidified a lot for their incumbent rookie quarterback. Like we talked about, they brought in Keenan Allen, great receiver, strong position receiver, very good to rely on first downs. You couple him with the receiving core that's in-house with DJ Moore and a draft pick that we'll talk about soon. And I think they have a very elite receiving core. DeAndre Swift, again, coupled with some of the other running backs that they have in-house with Roshan Johnson and Khalil Herbert. I think they've got good running back room. Gerald Everett is going to team up with Cole Kmet and even Mercedes Lewis there in Chicago, and that's 3 receiving tight ends. So I think there are plenty of weapons there on the offensive side of the ball. They improved some of their offensive line, bringing in Coleman Chilton. And I think solidifying that interior along with Ryan Bates as well, who they acquired via trade. You got to like what the Bears did. I mean, quite frankly, I think they took a step up in free agency. Josh, what did you think about the draft?
Hey.
They
did well for the. I'm kind of turning into Christian right now. It was the 2 picks.
I was just about to say, you had 2 picks was not a worthy over here.
No, but these 2 picks are very worthy. They met in the airport.
They met in the airport. All right, 2 picks that are very worthy. All right, Christian, what'd you think of the draft?
B plus.
B plus.
Yeah, Josh, 2 picks aren't a worthy, huh? Yeah. I do like what they did, but of course, 2 picks are not a worthy.
You can't say that because you gave the team an A.
That was the first one.
These two picks aren't A-worthy in your mind.
Yes, they-
Okay.
Well, they are, but was Roma Dunze the best pick they could have gone for? Yes, I do love Roma Dunze, and I was with it the first time, but then I took a really hard time to think about it. And I'm starting to realize that Roma Dunze might have not been the best pick at pick 9.
All right.
And so that's why I gave him a little bit lower and a B plus.
All right. Well, I gave them an A. I'm gonna split the difference. They brought in their number 1 quarterback in Caleb Williams, obviously first pick of the draft, and we'll get there. You know, you gotta love Caleb Williams. I think he's got all of the assets and capabilities, skill sets to get it done. I do like Roman Dunze. I think in terms of the receiving core that they have, Dunze offers something that DJ Moore and Keenan Allen don't offer, and that's the ability to win those 50-50 balls up high. He is a tremendously skilled receiver. I think he's going to complement that receiving core well. Yeah, and provides great weapons for Caleb Williams. I think they did a decent job with the last 3 picks that they had. Again, limited draft picks probably hurt them, but did a good job of just solidifying different positions with the rest of the drafts. They had a pretty strong lineup. They did a lot in free agency, and I think they're built for a future. I don't think they're going to compete this year, quite honestly. I think I'm expecting some bigger things from them. It's all contingent, kind of like the Vikings on health. Josh, what did you think overall for the Bears? How you grading them out?
I gave him an A minus.
All right,
I just went lower and lower and lower.
A minus. Christian, how'd you grade them out overall?
Well, I give him B plus in free agency, B plus in the draft. So it's pretty easy for me to think this through and give him a B plus overall.
All right. I again followed suit with what I did with the Vikings. I got an A grade in free agency and an A grade in the draft, but I did downgrade them slightly overall. For the exact same reason as the Vikings, they are starting a rookie quarterback. And I'm not sure still, CJ Stroud is kind of like the outlier that rookie quarterbacks generally don't produce that well in their first year. I think Caleb Williams has an incredibly bright future, but I don't think he's going to bring enough to the Bears with what else they've done to make Chicago competitive for a wild card and definitely not for the division title. Going forward, we are going to talk about a wild card team, in my opinion, and that is the Green Bay Packers. All right, Christian, what did you think about Green Bay in free agency?
Not a cute to them. I am not a huge Green Bay fan, I will say, but I'll do this fairly. I love the Josh Jacobs and Xavier McKinney signing. I don't know if it was enough though for them to get a great grade, but I think they did fine enough and good enough that I gave them a B.
All right, Josh, what did you think about Green Bay?
I agree, like exactly like what Christian said.
So you give him a B too?
Yeah.
All right, well, we're gonna go B's across the board and make it a trifecta. I did give Green Bay a B. Obviously moving on from Aaron Jones, they did bring in Josh Jacobs, who I do like. He's only 2 years removed from that rushing title that he had. He did have some injury issues that I think he'll be fully recovered from. And they also turned over some offensive line, turned over Darnell Savage and Jonathan Owens, but obviously bringing in Xavier McKinney does solidify one of those safety spots. They locked in some of their defensive backs, locked in AJ Dillon, who maybe will rebound. But yeah, I mean, I think it was a a decent free agency, kind of filling some of the holes that they lost. They did have a significant amount of picks in the draft. And we'll talk about that now. Christian, how'd you grade out the draft?
Okay, well, I actually didn't mention this before, but they did lose quite a lot here when I look at what they lost in Campbell, Jones, Runyon, and Savage, and like just all of that. So I looked here and I realized that they filled out a lot of the spots they were missing in both free agency and the draft. I think they did well in the draft as well with Jordan Morgan, Cooper, and Bullard. I think they did pretty well in the draft, so I gave them an A. I gave them an A.
All right, Joshua, what did you think about Green Bay's draft?
I think they did okay. Jordan Morgan was a good pick, but then the rest of the people I don't really know much about, so I gave him a B minus.
All right. I am actually gonna revise my grade now that I'm looking at all of this, giving it second thoughts, and I'm gonna give them a B plus. I think the Packers brought in some good picks throughout the draft. I think a couple of their picks were reaches. I wasn't a huge fan of Marshawn Lloyd in the third round. He is like a younger Josh Jacobs, and quite frankly, I'm not sure AJ Dillon is going to be that goal line back that I feel like they need. So I think they could have gone a different route in that third round, but Jordan Morgan is going to be, I think, a pretty good tackle. He's highly versatile, so maybe he'll move on to the inside. But overall, I see him slotting in that tackle spot to replace David Bakhtiari. So yeah, I think he's going to do well. I liked the Edgerrin Cooper signing or pick out of A&M. Great run defense, great pass rush. Could improve some on this coverage, but I think they'll have opportunities there in Green Bay. Javon Bullard is a great safety, can also play in the slot. He is a great coverage back, so I think there's going to be strong production there. And coupled with Xavier McKinney and some of the other people that they locked in free agency, I think he's going to produce well. Tyron Hooper out of Missouri, again, strong pass rushing linebacker. I think he'll get some time. Evan Williams, another, again, strong pass rush, can hit, works well in coverage. So, good rotation they're building out there. They did a really good job throughout the draft, in my opinion. Christian, what did you think overall for Green Bay?
Well, I gave them a B and A. I normally try to divide it pretty evenly. So, I think they did good. There was I don't know if it was good enough for an A grade in my opinion, but I gave them a B plus.
B plus. Joshua, what did you think about overall for Green Bay? How'd you grade them out?
I just gave him a B.
Just gave him a B.
Yeah.
All right, not really high on Green Bay. I am going to slot Green Bay in at a B plus. Again, they were a playoff team last year. They managed to pull it out. Jordan Love, I think, is going to build on another on a pretty solid year from last year. I think Matt LaFleur is going to be able to build on that team overall. Obviously, continue to just progress overall as a team. I think they've got a very talented team, young team. They were the youngest team in the NFL, so obviously experience is going to be key for all of those people having a year under their belts. I think they will compete for a wild card spot again. I think ideally the team we're going to talk about next is probably still got the division locked down. So let's move on to that team, almost a Super Bowl team last year, the Detroit Lions. Joshua, what did you think about the Lions free agency?
Very, very good, but not good enough. I give him an A minus.
A minus.
I think getting Carlton Davis was really smart. Also, Graham Glass. So I I said that right. And also getting Kevin Zietler. I think that was really smart. And honestly, I think it's fine if they lose Gardner Johnson and all the people that they lost. I don't think they're big parts of the team.
Christian, what did you think about free agency for the Lions?
I think they did a good job, mainly with the little bit of room they had left because they have signed some huge contracts in the offseason. But I love the Carlton Davis III that they got from the Bucks in a trade. Gonna miss him, but he's a good quarterback, so I like him. Love Graham Gladstone, a re-sign. He's a great lineman and will help to keep protecting Goff. I also love DJ Reader, who they signed, a great defensive tackle. I think he's gonna do well on the Lions. I think it just adds another source of power to the D line, and I think it makes the D line better. And so overall, I gave them an A.
All right. I honestly think Detroit did amazing in free agency. I gave an A plus. You know, returning all the pieces that they returned already makes them obviously a playoff team. They did lose CJ Gardner-Johnson, replaced him with Carlton Davis III. I think that was solid. Jonah Jackson replaced with Graham Glasgow. Yeah, I mean, looking down, Emmanuel Mosey in the cornerback spot. Jalen Reeves-Maybin, I liked that signing. Amik Robertson again with Carlton Davis III. Both of them are going to start in the defensive backfield. They brought in Kevin Zietler and coupled with Graham Glasgow, that's going to anchor that interior offensive line. It's going to make them a stronger team. And ideally, I think they got better in free agency. And you got to think they were already in the NFC Championship game. And so, yeah, I think it says a lot. Christian, what about the draft?
I gave them a B plus, but I'm actually gonna change it. I'm gonna give them an A.
All right.
My opinion, these two picks are worthy of an A.
Two picks or what two
I
picks?
know. Teron Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw Jr. I know these both. They're great cornerbacks. I hope they start because they're good. They should start. I don't know what their lineup looks like though, so I have no clue. But I hope they start. And mainly they are so talented that I have to give them an A.
All right.
So two picks are worthy of an A.
Two picks are worthy of an A again, Joshua.
Worthy of a B.
Two picks are worthy of a B. All right. Joshua's not in love with the two picks. Anything else you liked specifically, or just a solid draft and a B?
Good, but I'm just gonna give them a B.
All right.
Because they could have done a lot more.
All right. I
Still for a lot of picks.
I think
I feel like.
all right. I think Detroit did well. I gave him a B plus. You know, they traded up to get Teron Arnold. He led the SEC in interceptions and pass breakups. He will start opposite of Carlton Davis III. Enos Rexstraw from Missouri is going to be another very talented corner. Whether or not he starts over Amik Robertson will be yet to be determined. Kind of pulling into that slot cornerback spot. But they are two very, very talented coverage corners. So I think they have secured a backfield that can compete against any receiving core in that division. There are some very talented receiving cores in that division, both from the Vikings, for the Bears, for Green Bay. So, I think they just need. I think they just need against any NFC team and potentially an AFC team in the Super Bowl. So, yeah, I think overall, Giovanni Manu, Sion Vaco, Mikey Wingo from LSU, great value pick. I liked him in the 6th round. Even Christian Mahogany from Boston College, I think he adds great depth in that guard spot. So I really did like what they did in the draft. Again, if I had to say it, they got better in the draft. They got better in the free agency. Christian, how you grade them out overall?
It's not normal of me to do. Give it an A. But I gave it A+ overall. Their team is just so stacked overall.
Josh walked off.
Mm.
All right, man. Let him finish out.
Okay, well, that's all I gotta say. Let's send it over to Josh now.
All right, Josh, how'd you grade them out overall?
I give them a B+. They didn't do horrible, but like they didn't get an A+. It's just no
Alright.
way.
All right.
I think they did really well though. In the free agency, in the draft, and the draft not so well, but they didn't do bad. So I mean, I gave them a B+.
All right, I gave him an A. You know, it's hard when you're in the NFC Championship game and you really lose it by one play to the 49ers, mind you. They got better. They got better in free agency. They got better in the draft. They returned everybody. They left salary cap open so that they could lock in their key players next year. I think overall, you know, Detroit is the team to beat in this division, probably the team to beat in the NFC. I'm expecting big things from Detroit, but this wraps us up on our division talks. You know, if you like what you heard, feel free to hit that like button. You can subscribe as well. Joshua's got the subscribe sign. So, thanks again for joining us in our final week of the divisions. We'll look forward to talking about some of camps and some fantasy football in the near future.